playing the music, and we're live.
Heidi.
Hey, Heidi, how are you? Unmute yourself. We'll check your audio.
Oh, shit, you're on mute.
I like that you said shoot and then corrected yourself to say shit.
This is a family show.
I've never heard that.
I was just telling y'all about how full I am from Greek food.
Oh, yum. Well, you sound great and you look great. We're currently streaming right now, but don't worry, you won't be seen. The audience will see a slideshow, but they can hear you, so don't say anything embarrassing. And break a leg, y'all. When it comes to like 2 minutes till showtime, I'll ask you guys to turn off your cameras and your sound, so just Matt, John, and Patrick are shown. Alrighty, break a leg. Feel free to chat.
You should chat.
Do you know everyone, Heidi? Do you want me to introduce you?
You can if there's time.
I mean, yeah, we've got time.
Okay.
So so probably who you don't know is maybe Nicholas Shank, who's new, who took 101 at the theater. He's new and he's done some poetry.
201.
201. Oh, that's right. I took 201 with you.
Didn't graduate though.
Yeah, that A.
But does it count?
Okay.
Neither did I.
And then, do you know George Mendez? He runs the venue in the 35th Street venue. And then my mom, let's save the best for last.
Hi.
My mom is going to read a poem. Maybe about me. I don't know.
I hear so many good things. I just feel like it's an honor.
Mom, Heidi's in the mom chat. No.
We have a whole fan
I
club.
don't know what that is.
No,
You're
I just
on
made
my
it.
fridge, but this is the first time.
Yeah, I just made it up.
I could be in the grandma chat.
Yeah.
Why would I be in the chat?
Can we do a show next Saturday where we just all talk about our mothers?
Yeah.
I don't want to be here though.
Mom talk.
Mom Talk 2.0.
Talking moms.
We had one person.
We're live
drop
on Facebook. Dad might join us here for a second, John.
Oh, that's okay. He can join us. There's no video. There's no video.
You don't want to be on it on Facebook.
Welcome to Milta, mothers I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
Did you find something to read, Heidi?
Yeah.
Are you writing it now?
I'm scrolling through my Tumblr right now.
I like you writing it now like a true artist. You know, writing a poem now.
Tumblr, y'all. What really exists since dated 2016, so I'm sure to have a banger for us tonight.
So, did you get everybody on here? You and Matt
Yes.
talked everybody to it. I know you talked me into it.
Yeah, I think you just found out I was live on Facebook like an hour ago.
I know. You didn't tell me that yesterday.
Gotcha.
That's the Matt Cole way. Matt Cole's tricked me on stage like that a million times.
There's an audience here.
Well, I knew that you would like this and just wanted you to be a part. And I'm glad that George is here and Nicholas again. And Heidi, thanks for saying yes.
And Patrick as well. Thanks.
Patrick, too. Well, Patrick, yeah, we've talked a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but you just thanked everyone except
for Patrick.
And also me, now that I think about it.
I never thank you. Remember, like, I didn't officially invite you to my future funeral, but if you happen not to be busy that day, you can come.
Yeah, no, originally you said you gave Matt Cole a place of honor in your future funeral,
Yeah.
and then said I could drive him, is what you were originally said.
I was like, make sure Matt just gets there on time.
Yeah.
Other Matt.
And then you finally relented to give me a place of honor as well.
Let's hear it again.
Well, it happened again.
I like how you said that like you couldn't control it. Like you were like you looked at the band behind you playing this and you were like, let's hear it again, guys.
I've heard this song so many times. I know there's 1 second to get in a little bit of something before it automatically loops it back again.
Is that what you do just so people don't go crazy from hearing it on a loop?
Yeah.
Is like
Brian Garrity's watching. He said, nobody thanked me.
well, he's not here.
Brian, get in the Zoom room, bro. We had somebody drop out. We need another poet.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, Brian.
Is it a good idea for every viewer we get to invite them to just be in the show?
Yes, we're
Yeah.
trying to build community. We need
Yeah.
everybody who's listening right now is part of the show.
And eventually, if we get enough people in here, then some of us can start to like drop out and become the audience until like, the audience are the performers and all the performers are the audience.
I mean, that is the dream, right?
That's getting crazy.
Eventually, that there's no line between what's an audience and what's a performer.
Maybe we're watching you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we got 5 minutes till showtime. If you're listening, share the page, share the stream, like and follow us. Tell your friends. We're gonna have some poets, comedians, artists doing some poetry live.
I feel like I'm at a dentist office.
Yeah, it's got to be the weirdest thing.
Buzz. You just get a buzzkill?
Just gonna fold that up, stick it in the slot.
Matt, you muted yourself, so now it's just complete silence. Hold on, I'll wheel out my Latin piano and lay down some fat bossa nova.
Grab the bass. Go ahead. Let's do this.
Oh, actually, I do have my frog, which is kind of like a güiro.
Just keep doing that.
Nice, yeah.
Digging it.
A little inconsistent.
Is it just me, or did Zoom actually just mute Matt Holman?
It made the decision. You've been dismissed.
Yeah, it made the decision that is ambient. We don't want that kind of noise.
Look, I'm sorry, my headset's so good that it isolates background noise. I
An
apologize.
instrument that is so much like an animal barking. Or...
We asked the audience to not clap and just do the clicking.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think we need to come up with a third sound that hands make for the audience to do, just to distinguish us. You know, like maybe like the kind of hand farting thing.
But not everyone can do that. Like, I can't do that.
Can anyone do that?
It's genetic.
No.
Can you roll your
There
tongue?
we go.
Oh, I
No.
can't do it.
All right, George and Heidi are on hand fart duty.
They're really clammy.
It helps.
Maybe that's the problem.
It's better. The more nervous you get about your poem, the easier it is.
Secret. We gotta be sweaty.
Yeah.
Now I'm just picturing people hand farting and just like liquid shooting out.
Yeah.
It's like little geysers
There's a
between each
neat
finger.
fact somewhere that exists on extra lunch money.
By the way, if you're really in a bind, just pretend you're doing the hand fart thing and actually fart while you're doing it. No one on Zoom will be the wiser.
I had a scary Zoom moment recently because I'm a corporate trainer and I'm training my class, through Zoom, and I thought that everyone had gotten off the line, so I ripped a huge fart, and then I realized that one of my students was still on the line and I wasn't on mute, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna chill, because if maybe she didn't hear it, but I can't point out. I can't say anything. I can't be like, hey, did you hear my huge fart? It was very scary. That was it.
What you have to do is then make another very bizarre sound and then ask if they heard that. Like, hey, did you just hear my frog instrument?
Sounds like that student didn't really appreciate it.
I think I read about that on Twitter, Matt.
My fart?
Yeah.
Oh, Brian Garrity mentioned me in a comment.
Is there a button on Zoom you can use to also turn off the odor?
I already moved my hand toward the mouse like direction. It's ready.
All right, we got a minute till the show. Less than a minute till the show. Break a leg, everyone. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and turn off your videos except for Matt, John, and Patrick. Thank you, guys. You'll be introduced in a little bit.
How many people watching? 200-300?
I can't tell accurately. There's something wrong with my viewers thing because it says 0, but I know some people are watching.
Are you sure that there's something wrong with the viewer thing?
You're like, I promise I turned in my homework. It's just not here.
Or are you sure just not your eternal optimism?
No, I just gotta bang the side of the thing and it'll come out. Anyways, all right, here we go.
Hey, Matt, check my bank account real quick. How much money do I have in there? And it says 0.
Alrighty, here we go. Coming to you all the way from Norfolk, Virginia, Go On Productions and Earprov.com presents the Poetry Takeover with your hosts, Matt Holman, John Regan Wharton, and Patrick C. Taylor!
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really amped up intro for a poetry show. I'm into it.
Matt, do you feel embarrassed that you don't use your middle name like Patrick and I do? John Regan Wharton, Patrick C. Taylor, and Matt.
No, I'm okay because my middle name's Sean, and like Matt Sean Holman doesn't like roll off the tongue quite the same way Patrick C. Taylor.
Holman, you know?
What's that?
Yeah.
What'd you say, Patrick?
Matt Shulman is how it sounds to me.
Yeah. You could change it to Matt Shulman. We'd be into that. But
no, I'm fine with my name the way it is, but I appreciate that.
Matt Muscle Shulman.
I always get mixed up whether Holman has 2 L's or 1 L, and so I'm going to come up with a memory device right now. 1 L is like a hockey stick, so you're always carrying a hockey stick now in my mind for 1.
What if I have?
Should we introduce the show, guys?
What if I have 2 hockey sticks, Josh?
This is what Matt and I do for a while. So this is our second poetry jam. Is that right, Matt?
That's correct. Yes.
Well, the first was kind of like a backdoor pilot that we did as part of Coachella, and this is the first official episode. It's like when CSI Miami, all the characters premiered on CSI in one episode, but then they had the first CSI Miami episode.
Yes.
Really kicked off CSI Miami, and that's what this is for the Poetry Takeover.
Welcome to the Poetry Takeover. This is the CSI Miami of poetry jams.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 artists, local and non-local. I'll let you kind of just sip on that for a little bit. Local and non-local, and we have maybe some people even reading their works for their first time ever. Mm-hmm. And so we're excited about this. Thank you to Earprov. Thank you to our friend and producer Matt Cole for just kind of keeping community together. We think we're comedians once we get a microphone in front of us, but some of us are going to maybe read some things that are serious or, some feelings we put on paper.
Thanks to God, who through all things, we are able to accomplish anything.
Yes. Wow. Was that your poem?
No, I just wanted to say that and see how many viewers we lost. But I think we've still got our viewers holding strong here.
Well, we have a couple of minutes until we introduce our first poet. Matt, do we want to read off, everyone that's performing tonight, or are we just going to do it as it happens?
No, I say we just go through as it happens, surprise people, let them know we've got some high caliber poets. But before we can do that, let's just talk a little bit about why we're here. We're out here doing Earprov shows. There's Earprov shows every Friday and Saturday night. All 3 of us met at the Push Comedy Theater. We've done improv, stand-up, sketch there, and it's the
musical improv
as well, which is a subset of improv, so it didn't really need to be said. And right now the Push Comedy Theater is shut down because there's a pandemic going on, and so we're just out here trying to collect donations, help keep the theater alive. Every dollar you donate goes straight to keeping that theater alive, so whenever this pandemic's over, we can get back in there and start doing some funny stuff and serious stuff again.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Basically, we're reading our poems for money.
Yeah. So it's basically the dream of every poet is to go ahead and get money from reading poetry, but it's not money that's coming to us. It's money that's going straight to the Push Comedy Theater to help keep that alive until the pandemic is over and we're able to get back in there.
Yes, and another minute here, we'll introduce our first poet. What are we going to do? Take about let each person read for maybe 5 minutes. So they may read, 1, 2, 3 pieces. We may talk about it a little bit. And I think we have 8 tonight.
Yeah, I think so. That's 8, including the 3 people that you see up here. John, Patrick, and I will be reading, as well as some of our more featured and esteemed guests.
Did we get the co-host to also read and also be part of the audience?
I guess if you wanted to, if that's something you wanted to do.
Somehow, by the way, I'll just point out, I don't actually consider myself to be a poet, and yet somehow I've become a co-host of these poetry podcasts, which, true story, John Regan, Wharton contacted me. He's like, hey, would you like to co-host this podcast with me? And I said, I'd love to co-host not a podcast, it's a video camp, whatever. Would you like, I would love to do, host a show with you. I'm not a poet, so I shouldn't do this one.
That's
and
really
somehow
interesting.
I still ended up being a host on this. So I feel my function here is to make sure that anyone else is here doesn't feel imposter syndrome, because you think you're not a poet. Trust me, I'm really not a poet, and I'm still going to read what may or may not be considered to be a poem.
You're a co-host. Hey, is this a good time for me to give a Bob Dylan quote? No.
No, it's not, John. And also, I just want to make that a blanket statement for the future, is that it's not going to be time for you to give a good Bob Dylan quote. We actually already have our first donation from a friend of John, friend of Patrick, friend of myself, friend of the theater, awesome performer, awesome sketch comedian, great improviser, and probably the best roller skater I know. Eva Lorraine of Terror has donated $25.
Wow.
So thank you, Eva. I'll read her message to you, John, if you would like. She just wanted to say thank you for being such a kind heart and understanding friend, and that's just for you, John. That's not for me and Patrick.
By the way, anyone who tips and says anything about me, please say mean things about me.
Yeah, Patrick's really into that kind of negativity.
Yes, please.
All right.
Positive things about John, neutral things about Matt Muscle Schulman.
Negative things. Well, I'm sure, Patrick, that our viewers will take you up on all 3 of those, because I feel that's in general how they feel about all 3 of us.
That's right.
So let's go ahead. You know what? I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing us talk. So let's go and bring out our first poet. So coming to us live from a bunker in an undisclosed area. This man is someone we know that we have done improv with. He's a feature on Earprov. He has appeared in a lot of different shows. He was also the first man to be able to stand on his head and drink a full glass of milk. Please welcome to our stage, Nick Shonk.
Very warm welcome. Appreciate it. So, how does this roll?
Nick,
What?
you
When you're ready.
Introduce your stuff and you take it away, Brian.
Oh, excellent. Poetry, not as mellow as Longfellow, but it's poetry. Good and evil. Try this for a while. Let them walk all over you. Now try to smile. Crawl. You're at the bottom of the barrel. Laugh at the myth, but it's for real. They're treating you like shit. Man, is this what you want to deal with? Take a lesson in self-control. Learn to fight with a bat or a steel pole. You don't have to live this way. Lose the violence. Never be silenced. They're not the same. Clear your mind. Find something to do. Drive the straight path. You have nothing to lose. Your choice is your friend. Keep him close. But choose wrong, and he'll turn into your ghost. Stand up, man up, do what's right. For the rest of your life, you will have to fight. You can count on me. I'm your closest friend. We'll fight and we'll fight. Never quit till the end. A chance for rebirth. Ouch, that hurts, he says while stomping into the dirt, with a shirt soaked in the blood with a love for another. It dies just the same as everything else, neglected, forgotten, and left to rot on the shelf. Should it be salvaged to be saved? Or is it ready for its grave? For a selective few, it's a body that it craves. It still pumps away to the beat of the living. A death from the living was so unforgiving. You could save this beast from fertilizing the soil. It's the beauty at her best with a heart that pumps oil. As black as it is, the heart should be mine. It was left for too long. This small lump will now die. In its place at rest, not one flower will bloom. For a chance at rebirth, this heart was always doomed. Oh, thank you. Don't say that. Kiss me the way you want. You're wild and to the point. Let us play Uno while we smoke on this joint. You say that you want a life of music. Is there anything better? When we were done with this too quick, so we'll finish this later. I love the way that you look at me. It's crazy, but I'm jealous that you are so free. Take my hand, we'll dance. I don't care what they say. I'll be happy at the end, to the end of this, so we'll begin. This time dinner is on you. You pick the dish. I'll eat anything you wish. Do you like it when I make you laugh, pinch your ass, and I talk trash? You have a dirty mouth, but I'll call you what I want. You're hot without a doubt. Rarely ever a cunt. And the last one, untitled. You enter the room. You light up my place. My hand on your back, my mouth on your face. Picking you up, you squeeze your legs onto me. Kissing your neck, it's your skin I will please. Moving on down, my lips walk across your chest. Kissing your breast while you wait for my best. Groan, if you must, I'll slow to snail's pace. Your body's my meal, I beg for a taste. You claw at my back, good pain I will feel. So I bite your ass, I retaliate with my skill. You're begging me, please, please be inside me. A subtle laugh with deep breath as I sigh, oh, baby. I insert my man just like you want. This is my plan. Should I be rough? In and out, in and out. You will moan and I will shout. I will touch it again, just as you like, never stopping to the end, making you come through the night. Is that 5 minutes?
That is it. Thank you so much, Nick. I think I might have to take a break real quick and cool off after that last one. That was.
Yeah, I was really big into the porno poem stuff back in the late 90s.
Yeah, that was hot. That was very hot.
Yeah, I liked them all, Nick. I like I think the first one or the second one, Good and Evil. You might have shared that one with me before, so there's some lines that stick out to me. And I've liked getting to know you this past year too. You know, that the fact that you write, I think that's really cool.
Same.
No, go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like that last poem, although I thought that last poem was maybe going to be bait and switch, where it sounded first like, oh, maybe he's talking about being affectionate with a pet. And then it went on like, oh, no, this is not about a pet. Oh, no.
I mean, it could still be about a pet. Look, man.
A little bit about me. In my early 20s, I was a little sexually frustrated. So, you know, all the desires and emotions were up here and, you know, on Pornhub in its infancy, of course.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your poetry, Nick. Is there any plugs, anything you want to shout out?
Donate to the Push Comedy Theater and like many other performers and community members of the area. Do not want to see it to die. So please support it as much as you can and support Earprov. They're the Jimmy Jam when it comes to local improv. Love you guys. And I love all your poetry. It's awesome what you do.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Nick.
Thank you so much, Nick Shaw.
Yes.
Snaps for Nick. So let's go ahead real quick. Want to thank some donors. Nick Cage Bees, which I assume is a reference to the iconic scene in The Wicker Man, where, not the bees. By the way, I don't know if I'm sure you know this, Patrick, but there is 2 cuts of The Wicker Man. There's a PG-13 cut, and the only difference is the PG-13 cut doesn't have the bees scene. And I watched that whole movie waiting for the bees scene, and instead, at the end, too bad. I did not get the bees. I was so pissed.
Were you even watching after the credit thinking the bees might be like Nick Fury?
No, so what they do is they cut away and they play the audio. So I knew, I'm like, Oh, I know what's happening here. They decided to cut out that scene.
Hey, is now a good time for a Bob Dylan quote?
No, John.
Wait, do we have other donors?
Yes, we
We
do.
got to talk about the Diesel.
We got other donors. Carrie Parsons, thank you so much for donating $10.
Oh, okay, I like it.
So if you want to get thanked by myself or John or Patrick for donating, don't forget that you can go and donate at earprov.com. There's a big, beautiful donate now button. Just head out there, click that, and it'll walk you through. Thank you so much, Matt Holman, which is not me, for donating $10. Thank you so much to our next donor, Brian Kembe Gara Schlongbo. Tip $25. So thank you to co-producer. That I assume that is co-producer Brian Garrity out there donating to us. Thank you so much.
Actually, the money's rolling in right now. We are getting a lot. Snaps for Nick just tipped $10.
And this is for Patrick's cat. I assume to protect Patrick's cat. And then
you read it.
No, go ahead. I've read so many of these. You can read.
Then Dave Garrity 420 with the $5 tip. So I can't believe this. We're up to $95 right now, and you know what? Do we even need to read other poets to read? We get paid $95.
Well, our goal is 300, and then also we'd look like real big jerks if we just invited these people and then was like, "See ya." So let's go ahead and bring out our next poet. Oh, someone needs to introduce our next poet because it's me.
Oh, I want Patrick to introduce.
What?
No, okay, I'll introduce. Do I keep my camera on? Our next poet is a good friend of mine, an artist, a performer, a very smart, genuine friend, Matthew Sean Holman.
Hello out there. So I've got 2 poems I'd like to read. One of the few accomplishments I had in the year of 2020 was I went and I did the National Poetry Month poem a day, which was a challenge, but also pretty fulfilling, especially at a time when I was not doing so great because it was right at the onset of the pandemic and everything like that. So I'm going to read one of my favorites from that, which was the one I wrote on day 8. Which is called Grandpop. You'll see what happens. Are you proud of me? Would you look at me as a man or still see me as the boy that used to watch Dukes of Hazzard with you? Never knowing that boy would spend his life in the South, or that the Confederate flag emblazoned on the roof of the General Lee would be as commonplace in his life as the American one. I hope you would understand that to live a life torn between 2 extremes is not a life truly lived, a torturous existence laid out like a criminal on a rack, feeling the air flow in between my joints and lances of pain carving their way down my spine. I wish you were here to see me graduate, a rite of passage that meant little to me, but for the people watching it meant so much, and because of that my heart was full. I know how it would have been to feel your arms broad and warm as you pulled me in for a smoke-scented hug. I read somewhere once that your sense of smell connects to every part of your brain, that it doesn't know the passage of time, that you can be transported back to easier days. So when I smell your brand of cigarette in a friend's words, on a lover's breath, or out in the wide world, it spirals me back to a kindergarten walk where I would talk and you would smile, my small fingers protected by your broad palm, and all I could see was love. So that is dedicated to my my grandpop, who unfortunately passed a little while ago, probably longer ago now, probably about 16 years ago now. Anyway, I'll go ahead and I've got one more for everyone. This is one I wrote called The Space in Between. It was not for Poetry Month, but it was still written last year. So it's probably not going to be a happy one. I'll just let you know. I remember reading once that we can never touch anyone. We only feel the pressure of air molecules against our skin. So you may think that you and your love are holding hands, but all you grasp is the space in between. Infinitesimal distance can never be erased. No bridge can span, no rope can bind. Loneliness is hardwired into the atmosphere. Closeness manufactured by misfiring neurons. So how can you truly know someone if you can't touch them? To feel their dimpled skin against the pads of your fingertips, the heat of their arms as they hold you against their chests. Wet splashes of tears trickle down your cheeks that pool in the soft curve of their stomach. All of that is imagined intimacy, better left to the romance books and the lost, lonely dreamers pining for the hope of love. So I know now that you can never truly touch or be touched in return. There will always be the space in between. And that's what I've got.
Thank you, Matt. I like, I just thinking and kind of visualizing that in a little bit, the space in between. I just like that.
Thank you. It's definitely one of my happier poems.
Because nobody died in it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, thank you.
And in a COVID environment now, it's nice to think about people never actually touching each other.
That's
Don't believe what the government tells you. No one has ever touched another person.
Exactly. That's actually what it was. I used to read that as a guy just sitting in my car with my hand held up as I filmed a selfie video to tell people really what's what.
And I like that first poem. It kind of makes me think about the sort of olfactory sense of like being in my grandpa's barn and things like that. And never have I wished more that I had taken up smoking in kindergarten.
People smoked so young.
Thanks, John. All right, let's go ahead and thank some of our donors that have come in. You know what? I did the last ones. You guys can take these ones. I'll sit back and relax for a sec.
All right. Let's see whoever we got. Wait, I got to scroll up and make sure we don't miss anyone.
First one should be Dakota.
3420 was most recent. So Dakota Gunn has tipped $25 and says, "You guys are great."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Referring to the two of you, that just kind of averages out to being great. Because again, if you tip referring to me, it must be insulting. Holman tipped $10. And Mustard Holman's comment is in all capital letters, "Mustard!" Okay, just for emphasis. And Abasamosa tipped $15 and says, "Thank you for the aperitif." Aperitif. Is this a poetry term?
No, it's French.
Okay. Yeah. Again, my imposter syndrome's coming out. The aperitif of vulnerability.
It's a French epitome.
Yes. So yes, thank you for the epitome of vulnerability, aperitifity, etc. Mr. Holman.
So thank you so much for the donations. Let's keep them flowing in. We're trying to make 300. We're more than halfway to our goal already, if I'm doing my math correctly. So thank you so much for listening and donating. Wow, we're at $146.
Wow.
According to our counter. So yeah, we are almost halfway to our goal to get here. So let's go ahead. Let's introduce our next poet. John, I think you're going to want to introduce this poet.
Okay. So I'm excited for our next poet or poetress. Poet. Is there a female word for poet? Poetess?
I don't think so.
No. So our next poet, I'm excited. There she is. Ellen Connolly Wharton, my mom. Mom, thanks for being here. And I'm going to say it out loud in front of you. So you've always helped and encouraged me with my writing. So I'm excited for you to share here with my friends and with everyone. So go for it.
Thanks for inviting me. I have 3 poems. My first poem is called City Kid. And I grew up in Staten Island, which is right across the river from New York City. We used to go in the city all the time and ride the subway and the buses But it was kind of scary. It was fun, but it was scary. And I used to observe a lot of people on the subway. So this is City Kid. I like to ride the subway, swish through tunnels in hollow darkness, and the ratty old man never knew when the lights go out. But I always sit near a window looking very tired, like I have a strange disease. The boys in black leather try to bum cigarettes. Old ladies with stockings and ankle rolls smell of fish. But I don't get off until the last stop. No one will walk out after me. And my next one is when I was in high school, the Vietnam War was going on, and we used to watch it every night on TV. It was like a TV show. It's incredible to think about that. This is called War Crimes. The faces of the men were really dying as I sat with homework in my lap and nail polish in my hands, watching in horror as the camera witnessed murder, and I became an accomplice by turning the channel. And the last one is, I thought about stories. Like to me, everybody has a story, but you don't know the story unless they tell you. And that's what made me think of this. What could I say that would make you turn your head and listen? What words would hold you to me, with me for all time? Will you remember me, think of me, talk about me? The story ends, my story that you never knew, but I'll tell you now. Words burning into my soul, your body, the earth. Words lifted up with that June breeze, that red moon, the glittering creek water, the sandy waves. Did you know I was afraid to talk when I was 13? Did you know my father had a new job every year? Did you know he stopped drinking when I was 15, but then started to gamble? Did you know my mother never took me to a doctor? Did you know that I could travel in my books and become older and wise, younger and silly? Did you know I wanted to be a dancer, that I imagined my skirt twirling round and round as I swirled across the stage? Did you know I prayed at bedtime, but couldn't be sure God was listening and never expected a good answer? Did you know that I cried in church once when the priest read the story of the prodigal son? I knew I was not the good son who obeyed his father. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah, I really loved. I was gonna put it in the chat, the Staten Island one, because my family's New Yorkers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's actually where I was born, and everything, and I really enjoyed the subway one. Brought back a lot of feelings of my first couple times riding the subway solo when we would go back up for visits.
It's kind of scary.
Oh yeah, it totally is.
Yeah. My brother used to say when we were walking down the street, don't make eye contact. Just keep walking, don't make eye contact, you know? And then you were okay.
Yeah.
There was definitely something about the Vietnam poem that I thought was very powerful, about the idea of being an accomplice by tuning out. That, you know, that notion of like, oh, I'm not political or things like that can be in itself a stance, a political stance of its own, and sometimes our patriotic.
It was like a TV show. I mean, it's scary to think about that now.
Yeah. But I mean, I've grown up more so with hearing about a war going on, but not actually seeing it. Seeing a lot of pundits talk about it, you know, in the abstract, but not actually having that visceral impact.
I think they stopped doing that, but when I was in school, they actually did. I mean, the cameramen were right there, and you could see soldiers being shot on TV. Wow. And then they stopped it. I mean, they didn't, but we saw that, and it was amazing. You would just like stand and watch, then you would like go eat your cereal, you know. It was weird.
Maybe as writers, we're observers of our environment, and so all your poems, you're a strong observer.
Yeah, and you don't think about that till later. You're not thinking about it when it's happening. It could be years later, and you remember something and pick up a detail and then just go with it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for reading. The last
Sure.
one was really good too. I like the questions. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead. We've got some donations to shout out here. Our favorite hacker collective, Anonymous, tipped $25 with a really, I think, comment here. So I definitely want to read that. And they commented and said, "We write because we have to." And I think that is something that's really true for anyone that writes anything, regardless of whether it's poetry or stories or whatever. Yeah.
I remember a writer I like, David Mamet, who, I mean, doesn't write poetry, but he said one time, I grew up thinking I wanted to be a fireman, but I knew that the hardest part about being a fireman was going to be after a long day of putting out fires, coming home, and then putting in several hours writing.
That's good. I like that a lot. All right, let's go ahead and introduce our next poet. And Patrick, go ahead and turn off your video. Okay, our next poet coming to the stage here. Patrick C. Taylor is a writer and performer who can be heard as a guest on podcasts like Tell Me More Storytelling and The Sexperts. He will be reading a poem from his unreleased 2013 chapbook, Objects of Affection. Please welcome Patrick C. Taylor.
This poem is called Subtext. I'm hoping this poem gets me laid. See, I have this fantasy that I come to a coffee shop, and there's a few poets before me, actual poets, who know what they're doing, probably took classes, actually read poetry, know how to turn a phrase and craft metaphors far more crafty than anything I could come up with. I'm not a metaphor guy. I don't know how to make phrases turn. I certainly didn't take classes, and I have no idea what makes the poem good. This is really embarrassing. But I have this fantasy. I've put something down on paper that's just clever enough to make some girl think there's more to this guy, more than just wanting to get laid. Something that I'll only get to if I go and talk to him and pretend I like his poem. See, I can see it now. She's sitting at a table to the right, against the wall, a little shy. She thinks she weighs too much, so she doesn't think she's pretty, but she looks just fine to me. That's the girl. She didn't come here for poetry. In fact, she's kind of annoyed with these real poets, the ones who know where to end a stanza, who know E.E. Eliot from T.S. Cummings, who reach for deeper meaning and sometimes almost touch it with their fingertips. They're just a bunch of pretentious dickholes to her. But this guy, she thinks, this guy's different. He's not supposed to be here, and neither am I. How is it we're both in this place where we're not supposed to be, while everyone else has their arms crossed, murmuring something about self-indulgent bullshit? But this is the first thing that actually made me look up from my book, iPad, coffee cake. I don't really know this girl that well. I mean, keep in mind, we haven't actually met yet. So anyway, I leave right after the poem's done. I didn't get much applause, enough to be polite. That slow, weak clap like your hands are underwater. And it's no surprise, they think, that he left right away. He's not here to absorb anything. He doesn't care what other poets have to say because he's not a poet. He's a pervert who wasted our time. But as I leave, that girl will grab her bag and try not to make it seem like she's in a hurry. But when she gets out the door, she'll jog a little, just enough to catch up and say, "Oh, hey you, I liked your poem." And I'll turn around and say, "Really?" And think it worked.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick, co-host of the Poetry Takeover. That was great. I loved the E.E. Eliot, T.S. Cummings. For a second, I was like, oh, I got it. I thought maybe you just jumbled them just in your head for a second, and I was like, and then it clicked. It clicked.
There's always a couple layers to a Patrick C. Taylor poem, or grocery store list, anything. Patrick, I just like you're a good, you articulate well. You're a good reader. You're a good writer, and so I just like the way you. I like what you wrote, but I also like the way that you read it.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think I try, and if I'm not a poet, I am a performer.
Your voice,
So
your voice is what I was looking. That was the word I was looking to say. Your voice.
I agree.
Yeah, you're a good storyteller, and we all are storytellers.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick. Let's go ahead. I just want to remind people that we still have more poets coming. We've got 3 more. Yeah, well, we're all actual poets. We wrote poems. Boom, we're poets. So we got 3 more coming for you before we're gonna end our first episode of the Poetry Takeover. Don't forget, donate earprov.com. We are at $170 right now, which is more than halfway to our goal. I think we can make 300, guys.
Oh, we can make 300.
I was about to say, there was a weird pause there. I was like, do you guys not agree with me?
Oh God,
yeah.
I hope we make 300.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
Yeah. I will not go off the air until we make 300.
I'm not sure we're going to have another episode if we don't make 300.
Matt Cole specifically said, if you don't make 300, no more poems.
Oh, another tip just came in.
Dead.
Oh, good. We got a tip. $25 from that poem got you laid. So thank you so much to that poem got you laid for your donation. So let's keep the donations rolling in. We're going to keep the poetry going for you. John, go ahead and turn off your camera because I got to introduce you. Okay.
He knows how. He's done it before.
Yeah, I know. He's done it every single time, but now when we need him to, it's like I can't figure it out. Anyway, let's welcome to our virtual stage. He is the co-host of the Johnny September Takeover. He is one of the founding members of the Ravens Hollow County Players. He's an awesome poet, a hilarious guy, and just a generally all-around awesome person to spend time with. Please welcome John Regan Wharton.
Thank you. Boy, you knew how to make someone feel good. Thank you to my friends putting this on and to all the poets today. I think I'm just going to read one. And what I've liked to do recently is take a real story or something that I see during the day and hyper focus on it and then just write about it and then just kind of branch out, if that makes any sense. When coffee time morning coincidences feel like bubblegum cartoon magic and a stranger's talking laughter is all you need for breakfast, you're living in the moment. When the words you use, the words you choose heal and don't hurt, you're helping others move forward. When your intentions are pure and you're not scared of time or criticism, you move with ease into conversation in living rooms. Today I saw a crow drinking a Dr. Pepper soda in a parking lot. It was raining. I was in the drive-through lane for my morning coffee. I always tell them my name's JR. The soda can was on its side, and the crow was taking little swigs, then tipping its head back. Animals are so smart. When I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a zookeeper. I don't even know what a zookeeper does during the day. One time I wrote a woman a poem. I spilled all my feelings for her in a parking garage in State College, Pennsylvania. It was so cold. The air in her response, so cold. Parking garages give me anxiety. And I'm just going to do one for today, and I'm going to allow some time for other poets.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, John. I really love the image of the crow drinking from the can. Like that just like was really vibrant for me. Like just
That's where the poem started when I said I kind of true stories. I was just kind of sitting and watching this crow. I can still picture it drinking Dr. Pepper.
I like that moment where it's the words we use. No, the words we choose. That correction in the moment that makes it feel very present.
Thank you for catching that. Yeah, thank you.
And I also notice I've learned from watching years of watching movies, nothing good ever happens in a park.
I have so much parking garage anxiety.
Ooh,
Whether it's people breaking up or like car bombs exploding, whatever, nothing good ever happens in a parking garage.
I just don't want to go past the awesome pop punk band name John just came up with, which is Parking Garage Anxiety.
Yes,
right.
Get it on the list.
I could see that as like a pop punk band name.
Yeah.
It's like, we're Parking Garage Anxiety and we hate the town we grew up in.
Oh, it looks like we got more tips.
So we just got some more tips.
Yeah. Do you mind if I start just because I know where
Go ahead.
stopped?
Go ahead.
So hey, I liked your poem. Tipped us $25.
Oh, really?
Yes. Someone, Dakota tipped us $5 and has a message for you, Patrick. Sorry, Patrick. The other guys are donated us $5. Sorry, Patrick. The other guys are great. You not so much. Does that make you feel better?
Yes, thank you. More roasting me in the donation comments.
Longtime fan who is definitely not me that tipped this, donated this. Dick Tembe Schlong Tumbo donated $10. Thank you out there, Dick Tembe. I appreciate your support.
I'd like to take the next one. I know who that is. Carrie and Logan, who tipped $20. Very good friends of mine, and thank you so much. I love you guys.
Our good friend Eva Lorraine of Terror donated some more money, slung us $10.
Because it's payday, she said. I love you, Eva.
Said it's payday, and she's feeling hopeful. Our close allies here on Earprov, Antifa, donated us $10. It said poetry is like good ham. So thank you for all the donations. I don't do math well, but we have to be in the 200s by now if I'm doing my math correctly. So we're going to hit this goal of 300, and we still have definitely one more poet. One of the poets has disappeared from the Zoom.
Oh.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring out our next poet. And John, would you like to take this intro? You're muted, John.
Yes, I'd like to take this next intro. This is a friend of mine. I probably don't talk to him no, I'm just going to start. This is a friend of mine, George Mendez. George's, I saw George do spoken word one time, and it just really spoke to me. And George, I still think about that sometimes when I'm just driving around or writing. I mean, you really came across great. George has really been holding the venue together for probably about 9 or 10 years. And why don't you go ahead and tell people where that's at?
The venue is on 35th Street. It's really easy to remember because it's in our name, the venue on 35th Street. We are going into our 14th year altogether.
Wow.
And I've been there for the last 9. Obviously, because of the pandemic, we've been mostly virtual, but the open mic is still happening. You can find the venue on 35th on all social media platforms where you'll see the flyer with Zoom links and passwords to get into all our different stuff.
Great. Well, George, thank you for being here. I love watching you perform. So I'm going to back off and just let you do your thing. You have the stage.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, and shout out to Earprov. Please make some donations in the link. It's always for a good cause. Local theater is incredibly important, especially right now. So shout out to the Push Comedy Theater for keeping these things going online. That said, poems and shit. All right, so we used to do some writing workshops at the venue, and one of them was we had the top 50 opening lines of the best songs in American music. And this is the one that one of the other students assigned to me. We went with Hello Darkness, My Old Friend by Simon and Garfunkel. Oh, there you are. I've been expecting you. I felt the melancholy brewing in your bones, the familiar ache of sorrow simmering. I knew you'd come knocking soon. It's been a while. Good for you. Good for you. So, what is it this time? Money troubles? Feeling unaccomplished? Didn't get the girl? That struck a nerve. So it's a girl then? Yes, of course it is. Well, let me guess. It's the raven-haired one, isn't it? I recognize her calling card in your tear tracks. I can always count on her to send you running back into the shadows of my embrace. There. What did she do this time? Not return a text? Insult you? Reject you? Again? Sorry. That was unfair. But come on. It's like you do it on purpose. As much as you claim to hate me, you sure do go out of your way to fall back into me. Admit it. You like it in the dark. You've always looked better in blues. Your melancholy majesty, wearing your insecurities like royal garb, depression like a bejeweled crown, so heartache into the emperor's new clothes so you can show it off on stage. Nothing pushes your pen quite like a fresh rejection. Nothing moves the audience quite like anguish on display. And no one, I mean no one, weaves a tale of woe quite like you do. Tortured poet. That's why you're really back. You need a new poem. You're a writer. That means you can bleed out and never die. So bleed, wallow in your words to feel worthwhile, bleed, search for validation in the snaps of fingers, bleed, carry the weight of your existence in every verse you utter, sell it, boy, force them to feel you, command them to cheer with every tear that plummets from your cheek, invoke envy of your torment, hurt so good that it makes them jealous, spit that sorrow till it hits the mic like a symphony, leave it all on stage to burn under the heat of stage lights until they explode into a crescendo of applause. Bleed all the way out. Because after all, the pain is worth the poem, right? Thank you.
Say that last line again. The pain is worth the
poem.
Yes. Oh, George, great. Yeah.
Thank you.
The flow, the cadence is what I really like.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
That idea of like people who are just emotional vampires for their art, is got a very powerfully expressed there. That's why you're back.
The girl, a poem.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I could listen. All I got.
I could listen to it again.
George, I know you plugged the venues or anything else you wanted to plug while we got you up here. Anything you want to talk about?
There's not a hell of a whole lot going on, unfortunately, but our slam team that we sponsor at the venue is going to attempt to start their season virtually, starting the first Wednesday of February. If you swing by the venue page or the Verb Benders Facebook page, they'll have their flyer up with the Zoom ID and the password. They're going to be doing every other Wednesday, alternating between an open mic, which is going to have a little bit of different format than the Monday night, and slams. And of course, we're still doing our open mic every Monday. So come hang out with us, swing by our social media pages and get all the info you need. Also, the Push is kind enough to put the flyer up at the beginning of your Earprov event. So that's really kind of you guys.
Well, I that is definitely something that I do and I control. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
George, there was a time, wasn't it a couple years ago, where you were even doing some writing or poem classes yourself?
Yeah, I was teaching writing workshops at the venue on 35th myself, but due to a apparent general lack of public interest, that kind of fell by the wayside. We at the venue, we try to create the events that our artistic community wants, and they know what they do and don't need, and there'll be an ebb and flow. There'll be a period in time where writing workshops is what they wanted, and maybe right now that's not. Yeah, maybe it'll come back. So, and that's okay. Yeah, the venue and everything we do there is very organic. It's a very much a living, breathing thing. So it evolves and changes just like anything that's alive.
Would you be open to doing this again with us if we do it, monthly or twice a month, or
yeah, sure,
a couple times a year?
That's so nice of you, John, to ask him that in a public forum where if he says no, everyone that is watching is now like, oh, look at this jerk.
I got him.
Clever.
And
Matt, be like, no, I won't be back. And by the way, do not donate.
and Matt Holman, I got 4 questions for you.
No. Oh, great. All right. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
George,
guys.
for that.
Thank you,
George. More like an apostle. That was terrific.
So we did have another poet. They seem to have disappeared. But that is normally a feature on Earprov, but only during drunk prov shows. Yeah. So I guess that's a first for our poetry. So hopefully that performer will be able to come for this show next month. Because we're going to have this show next month. And now that I'm saying in a public forum, Matt can't say no.
That's what I'm talking about. And we got more money came in.
Oh, yes, we've got more money. We got $5 from Bernie Sanders. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanders, who is once again asking us to donate to Push Comedy Theater. We got $5 for Mustard Holman again. So Mustard for Mustard Holman. Tara donated $15 and said because Patrick. And JRW, whoever that is, donated $50 and said writing is life. So thank you so much, JRW. And that brings our grand total, drum roll, $350. We have exceeded our donation. So I guess this is the part where we like end the show.
Yeah.
That's right. And guess what? I'm taking it over.
Oh, no!
Surprise. Thank you, guys. I'm taking it over because there's a milestone I didn't tell you guys about, but this is the first month that we've been doing these live streams since May, so I don't know how many months that is, but thanks to your kind donations, we've been able to throw some money at the Push Comedy Theater. And this is the first month we've been super duper successful. And so the monthly total, I guess there's 5 weeks this month, so we're looking at some big donations. But this is the first month with the $350 donation that we've reached $3,000 to help out the Push Comedy Theater. Wow. So thank you guys at home. It's so awesome. Every year, the Push has the State of the Push, like the State of the Union, and they kind of let out their hearts and said, they're in some dire straits right now, and their rent is like $5,000, and they need a lot of money for insurance and state taxes and blah blah blah. So $3,000 this month is going to be very, very helpful, and I'm glad. I was really happy that we could do this show kind of as an experiment, but it turned out really super duper well. So I want to give a round of applause for our 3 hosts tonight: Patrick, Matt, and John. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys at home. Thank you to our poets. Thank you to John, Regan, Wharton's mom, who's so incredible. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. George is amazing. And who else do we have on tonight?
Nick Shonk.
Oh, Nick. Is Nick still? Show yourself, Shonk.
Shonkmeister.
He may have. He's got a young one at home, so he may not be able to show himself. Yeah. But thank you, Shonk. Thank you, guys. This is really, really incredible. We have I have another new show tomorrow night. If you're still watching, tomorrow night we're gonna do an improvised stand-up comedy show. It's called the Sweat List. It's got 5 stand-up comedians, and actually they're actually improvisers. Well, some of them don't even do stand-up. 5 stand-up comedians, 5 random topics. They each get 5 minutes, and it's a competition, but it's one of those stupid. It's like whose line is it anyway? Everybody wins. I guess the audience wins. And then next week we have the Improv Explosion, which is short form like Whose Line Is It Anyway at 8 p.m. all this is on earprov.com. And then Saturday is How Embarrassing with Molly and Jeff. We're gonna improvise and do some embarrassing stories.
Isn't the full title How Embarrassing the Podcast, the Improv?
Actually, yeah. I gotta update
the full
that.
title.
I'm so sorry. And actually, I'm sorry for taking over, but I was so excited, and thank you guys for doing the show tonight. But I'll let you guys close it out.
Okay.
Go for it, guys.
Okay.
Now.
So now it's time to close out the first episode of the Poetry Takeover.
Doing it the way we always close it out, Johnny.
With a Bob Dylan quote.
Yes, exactly. Do it.
You know what? You'll get your chance for the Bob Dylan quote at the
By
end,
the way,
John.
can we mention, by the way, Bob Dylan? Bob Dylan was the poet who dropped out at the last second.
Yes, he was our big get for this, and unfortunately, he had to write another song about Abraham Lincoln that was like 20 minutes long.
When they
he had to go.
When they asked him if he was a folk singer, he said, "I think of myself more as a song and dance man."
Okay, we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Earprov.com. Thanks, guys. See ya. Thanks,
Good night.
Sean. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.